Very good morning, students. Today, let us discuss a concept, energy consideration. Energy consideration. A quantitative study. Energy consideration, a quantitative study. Already we discussed that whenever a metal rod is moving in a magnetic field, it generates some EMF called motional EMF, and whenever it is connected to some external resistance, some current will pass through the circuit called motional current, and we calculated expression for motional EMF as well as motional current. In today's class, we are going to calculate the energy associated in this motion of rod, the energy associated in the motion of rod. Let us see this diagram clearly. Here there is a uniform magnetic field into the paper. Here there is a uniform magnetic field into the paper, and it is provided with a U-shaped metal railing. Over this metal railing, a rod PQ is sliding. PQ is sliding with velocity V. A rod PQ is sliding with velocity V. The strength of the magnetic field is given by B bar into the paper, and by the moment this rod is at a distance x from the edge of the U-shaped rail, and let me name these points as S and R. Rod name is P and Q, and this is M and N. Now, the motional EMF generated, the motional EMF generated E is equal to BVL. Already we calculated this. L is the length of the rod which is moving with velocity V. So BVL is the motional EMF generated. Then if you want motional current or induced current in the loop, the induced current in the loop, what is the name of the loop? P, Q, R, S, P. In this loop, what is the induced current or motional current? Induced current is represented by induced EMF by effective resistance. If resistance of the loop is capital R, resistance of the rod is small r, then E is equal to, already we know BVL, so I should write BVL by R plus R. BVL by R plus R, where capital R is the resistance of, otherwise you keep it as R dash to avoid the confusion. R is the resistance of the rail shaped metal wire, and small r is the resistance of the rod. So small r is like internal resistance, this is like external resistance. Internal resistance and external resistance are on series to one another, hence effective resistance is R plus R, EMF developed is BVL. So BVL by R plus R is the strength of the current passing through the loop. Okay. Now, due to the presence of magnetic field, magnetic force on the arm, here I is the strength of current moving like this. You know the direction of current, how to do right hand palm rule. If you stretch your right hand like this, remaining fingers are representing the direction of magnetic field. If thumb is representing the direction of motion of rod or velocity, then this terminal will get positive potential, this terminal will get negative potential as per right hand palm rule. Now current has to move from negative terminal to positive terminal within the rod and positive terminal to negative terminal within the circuit. Now it is a current carrying rod kept in magnetic field. It experiences some magnetic force given by Fleming left hand rule. If you stretch the three fingers of your left hand such that current field force, so current is going upwards, field is into the paper, so it experiences a force due to the magnetic field FB in this direction. So the magnetic force experienced by the rod is FB I into L bar cross B bar. This is the general formula. L and B are perpendicular to one another. Sin 90 is 1. So simply it is BIL. BIL is the force experienced by this. Already we know that this force is acting in this direction. For time being, if this is along x-axis, this is along y-axis, and length of the rod is along y-axis, its motion is along x-axis, then the direction of this force, if you want to keep FB bar, is given by BIL into minus I cap. Minus I cap, it is along negative x-axis direction. Already B into strength of the current, we calculated it as BVL by R plus R. Small r is the resistance of the rod, capital R is the resistance of the loop, into L minus I cap. B square VL square by capital R plus small r into minus I cap is the magnetic force experienced by the rod. So in order to make this rod to move with constant speed, some external force must be applied. If external force is exactly equal to the magnetic force here, then the rod will move with constant velocity. So the external force required to keep the rod moving with constant speed V. External force must be equal to magnetic force. Direction should be opposite to one another. Hence, so minus of this minus, it will become plus. So B square V well square by capital R plus small r I cap is the external force required to keep the rod moving with constant velocity. Now, if I want to calculate the power required, the mechanical power delivered by the external agent in pulling the rod over the loop, the mechanical power delivered by external agent. Let me do it here. The mechanical power delivered by external agent is, so power is equal to EMF into current, or you can write power is equal to force into velocity, external force into velocity with which the rod is moving. The direction, actually it is a scalar quantity, you should take dot product of these two, F bar dot V bar. That is the formula for power delivered by external agent. So whenever you take cos of the angle between f and v, cos 0 is 1. So simply it becomes fv or f external into v. So that is b square. Again, already one v is there. Again, we are multiplying with v. V square L square by r plus r. This is the power delivered by external agent to keep the rod moving with constant speed. Now, the heat dissipated in the loop per second, the heat dissipated in the loop per second the heat dissipated in the loop per second is given by dH by dt. dH by dt. I square R plus R. You know that heat delivered H is equal to or Q is equal to I square R T. This is the general formula. Already we know about it. If you bring this T this side, Q by T becomes I square R. So here resistance means effective resistance you should take into consideration. Already we calculated current value. I square R plus R will give the heat dissipated. So from what is the value of current? E by R plus R into R plus R. E by R plus R whole square. That is nothing but E by R plus R. E square by R plus R whole square. Square and R plus R gets cancelled. E value is given by BVL. So B square V square L square by R plus R. So the heat dissipated per second, that means if the time interval is taken as 1 second, the heat dissipated is given by B square V square L square by R plus R. And similarly, the mechanical power delivered by the external agent to keep the rod moving with constant velocity is given by B square V square L square by R plus R. Both are identical. So what is the conclusion we will get from this? What is the conclusion we will get in this? Let us see. So the conclusion is the mechanical energy delivered by an external agent to keep the rod move with constant velocity will be converted as electrical energy, and the electrical energy appears in the form of electric current passing through the loop. This in turn generates some heat, and the heat is dissipated per unit time at the same rate. So mechanical energy is converted as electrical energy is converted as heat energy. All are having same expression. Here what happened? Mechanical energy, it is converted as electrical energy. It is in turn converted as heat energy. So the conclusion is the mechanical power delivered by an external agent to keep the rod moving with constant velocity is converted as electrical energy. That electrical energy in turns dissipated in the form of heat energy. All are having identical expressions. It is called quantitative study because we calculated the quantity of mechanical power delivered by the agent, and we also calculated amount of heat dissipated per second. Both are having identical expression. Even if you calculate the electrical energy is also having same expression. So by observing all the equations, the conclusion is one form of energy is converted in the form of other form of energy. One form of energy is converted to another form of energy. Energy conservation principle is explained in this case. This is called conservation of energy, a quantitative study, or energy consideration, a quantitative study. So whenever we make a rod to move in uniform magnetic field, the mechanical power delivered to keep the rod moving with constant velocity is converted as electrical energy, and which makes the current to move through the loop, and which is in turn converted as heat energy and is dissipated at a rate which is exactly identical to mechanical power delivered by external agent. I hope everybody understood this concept. Motional EMF from Lorentz force. Motional EMF from Lorentz force. Earlier we discussed there are two forces, force due to electric field, force due to magnetic field. The combination of these two forces is the net force experienced by the charged particle. So this force is called Lorentz force. Electrical force is given by EQ, magnetic force is given by BVQ. So Q into E plus BV will be the expression for Lorentz force. Lorentz force. Now thus Lorentz force in the vector form, if you want to write, Q is a scalar, E bar plus V bar cross B bar. This is the Lorentz force expression. In our case, here is a magnetic field of strength B. A rod is moving perpendicular to the field with a velocity V. So the angle between V and B is 90. If you expand this, VB sin 90, sin 90 is 1. So we need not to worry about this cross product here. So the net force you can take like that. Directly the magnitude of the force is given by Q into E plus BV. Now if I want to calculate the work done, work done is nothing but force into displacement. Work done is nothing but force into displacement. So if you want to move a charge from this end to this end, from P to Q or Q to P, the work required is the force. Here, if you consider a charged particle of charge Q, it is under the influence of magnetic field as well as electric field, which is generated due to its motion. So here you will get positive potential, here you will get negative potential. There is some electric field in this direction. Already magnetic field is into the paper. This charged particle, which is under the influence of both electric field as well as magnetic field. So the net force experienced by it is given by Q into E plus BV into N. This is the work done to move the charge from this end to this end. We know that electric potential is defined as work done for bringing unit charge. Work done for bringing unit charge. If I consider work done by external magnetic field alone, work done by external magnetic field alone, that means you need not to consider electric field. So work done is given by Q into BVL. Electric field is not considered here, only we are considering external work done by external magnetic field is like this. Then if you substitute it here, Q into BVL by Q gets cancelled. The potential difference is called motional EMF, which is given by BVL. Already we derived expression for motional EMF of a rod moving in a magnetic field. You got the same expression. Here what you have to understand is, this is the general formula for Lorentz force, but then this is the general formula for work done. Here work is done by external magnetic field against the motion of the rod. So work done by the external magnetic field against the motion of the rod is given by this formula, which leads to the development of an EMF, which is given by BVL. So from Lorentz force we derived expression for motional EMF. Sometimes in some problems they may ask you to calculate motional EMF from Lorentz force. From Lorentz force due to magnetic field, we calculated work done. Work done for bringing unit charge is called potential difference or EMF. So EMF is given by BVL. Please note all this. Next concept we are going to discuss is effective length concept. Effective length concept. Effective length concept. Till now we discussed the motion of a rod in uniform magnetic field. Sometimes magnetic field may not be uniform and the shape of the rod may not be straight. So even in that case also the motional EMF concept can be used, or motional EMF can be developed. So in this concept we are going to generalize, we can generalize the concept of motional EMF. We can generalize the concept of motional EMF for a conductor of any shape, with any magnetic field whether it is uniform or not. Whether it is uniform or not. So this is the idea behind it. I will tell you in a clear cut way. Here I have a conductor of arbitrary shape. The name of the conductor is PQ. It is kept in a magnetic field into the paper. Magnetic field is uniform or not, but the strength of the magnetic field is given B at this location. Now, in order to calculate induced EMF or motional EMF, because this rod is moving with a velocity v at this point, or the rod is moving with a velocity v. If I consider the small element of length dl like this, and if you take the velocity into consideration, the EMF developed in this small element of length dl is given by dE. EMF developed across the small element of length dl is given by dE. Generally, we consider the velocity perpendicular to the length of the element we have taken, or in general L into V bar cross B bar. As the length of the element is dl here, dl into V bar cross B bar will give the, strictly speaking, it is a box product, dl bar dot V bar cross B bar. A bar dot B bar is equal to B bar dot A bar. So dE is equal to V bar cross B bar dot dl bar. You can write anyway. Whenever you require EMF developed, then you should integrate V bar cross B bar dot dl bar, and the length of the element you should take from P to Q. So the differentiation you should do from P to Q. So this is the way of finding EMF developed across the two ends of the conductor PQ by taking small element and by calculating the EMF developed across the length of the small element, and by integrating that you will get the value of EMF. So here V is the velocity, fixed value, B is the strength of the magnetic field, suppose fixed value, then you can write it as V bar cross B bar as you expand this dot product you will get cos dl bar is V bar cross B bar means it's a perpendicular to the plane containing both V bar and B bar. So parallel to dl bar, cos 0 is 1, so don't worry, integral dl. Integral dl means total length of the wire. So V and B are perpendicular to each other, so BVL. E is given by BVL. But what is this L? L is the shortest distance between P and Q. Here L is, by integrating dl you will get L from P to Q. So this is the effective length, L effective. So whenever straight rod is there, effective length and actual length both are same. Whenever irregular shaped wire or rod is there, effective length is the shortest distance between P and Q. So whenever you want to find motional EMF, you should take the formula BVL only. L value should be taken as effective length. Effective length means the shortest distance between P and Q. Because length is considered as a vector, and on integrating dl you will get effective length only. So this concept is called effective length concept. To understand this concept clearly, I will explain you one example problem. In this example, you will see what is the use of this effective length concept. Observe the problem clearly. Here the question is like this. A bent rod PQR such that PQ is equal to QR is equal to L. Shown here, he is rotating about its end P with angular speed omega in a region of transverse magnetic field. In a region of transverse magnetic field of strength B. What is the first point? EMF induced across the rod second point, potential difference between the points Q and R on the rod. So, this is the question. And the rod shape they gave like this, rotating with the angular velocity omega about a point P, Q, R is the shape of the rod, and this angle they gave it as 60 degrees. The strength of the magnetic field is B, it is into the paper. So a bent rod PQR shown in the figure is rotating about its end P with angular velocity omega in a region of transverse magnetic field of strength B. What is the EMF induced across the rod? So let me calculate the solution. This rod PQR is identical with PR because this is the effective length. This effective length, let me take it as L. So that means the potential difference between these 2 points, Vp minus Vr is equal to B. As per the question, it is rotating with angular velocity omega. So as a rod is rotating with angular velocity omega, E is equal to half B omega L square. We already calculated. A rod of length L is rotating with angular velocity omega in a magnetic field of strength B. The EMF developed is half B omega L square. So B omega L square by 2 will be the EMF developed between the 2 points P and R as per effective length concept. Otherwise, if you consider only PQ, it is rotating with omega, then Vp minus Vq is given by. Here one more point you should take into consideration. Who is having high potential? So rod is having angular velocity like this, means linear velocity will also be in this direction. So Q should have high potential, P should have low potential. So Vq minus Vp is B omega L square by 2. B omega L square by 2. The question is, what is the EMF induced across the rod? So we already calculated Vp minus Vr. We also calculated Vq minus Vp. Vq minus Vp. So if I want the EMF developed between these two, this is equation number 1, this is equation number 2. Let me take 1 minus 2, you do it, 1 minus 2. You will get Vq minus Vp minus Vp minus Vr. So it becomes, no, you take the sum of these two. Vp gets cancelled. You are left with Vq minus Vr. Okay. This is b omega L square by 2. That is b omega L square by 2. If you take the sum, you will get Vq minus Vr. But here also you should take one point into consideration. This velocity will be downwards. When velocity is downwards, R is at high potential when compared to P. So this is Vr minus Vp. So Vr minus Vp is like this. Then it gives Vp minus Vr is equal to minus b omega L square by 2. So by adding these two, this you consider as equation number 2. By adding these two, you will get 0. That means no EMF is developed between Q and R. EMF will be developed between P and Q only as a Vq minus Vp. Otherwise, if you consider the irregular shaped rod with the effective length, then Vr minus Vp is given by b omega L square, or Vp minus Vr is given by minus b omega L square by 2. Minus b omega L square by 2. So what is the first question they asked? EMF across the rod. Across the rod means this entire rod is considered as PR only with effective length L. So by considering this effective length as L, individually this is L, this is L, as it is 60 degrees, obviously it will also have length L only. So no need of calculating this, as it is an isosceles triangle, both are having identical lengths. So as per the question they gave these two lengths are L, then obviously the effective length will be L only. Then for the first question, the EMF induced across the rod, then the answer is minus b omega L square by 2. The potential difference between points Q and R is 0. This is the solution for the second part. This is the solution for the first part. Both parts I discussed here. In order to solve this problem, two concepts you should take into consideration. One is, whenever a rod of length L is rotating with angular velocity omega in a magnetic field of strength B, the EMF developed is given by half b omega L square. And one more point, whenever the shape of the rod is not straight, we should take the effective length into consideration. Here effective length is also equal to L, and the EMF developed across the two ends of the rod is minus b omega L square by 2. And they specifically asked the potential difference between these 2 points. Individually, if I take these 2 points, Vq minus Vp is given by this. So by adding these two equations, you will get the required result. So the potential difference between Q and R is 0. EMF developed across the rod is minus b omega L square by 2. So this is the solution for the question. One more question. As shown in figure, a bicycle wheel of radius R is rotating with angular frequency omega in a plane perpendicular to the horizontal, in a plane perpendicular to the horizontal component of earth magnetic field. Horizontal component of earth magnetic field, BH. What is the EMF induced? What is the EMF induced between the rim and the center of the wheel? What is the EMF induced between the rim and center of the wheel? This is the question. So the question figure is like this. This is the bicycle wheel. The spokes of the bicycle wheels are like this. And this bicycle wheel is rotating with angular velocity omega. In a magnetic field out of the paper. That means earth magnetic field is directed from south pole to north pole. North pole of the earth is like this, south pole of the earth is like that. So this is the magnetic field direction, BH. We need to solve this question. Solution. Solution is quite simple. If you observe clearly, each and every spoke of the wheel will act as an individual rod rotating with angular velocity omega. As the magnetic field is out of the paper and the wheel is rotating like this, you will have higher potential at the upper surface and lower potential at the lower surface. So this wheel is identical with like this. If you consider this rod, it is acting as a cell like this. It is also acting like a cell like this. It is also acting like a cell like this. It is also acting like a cell like this. It is also acting like a cell like this. So like this. So each and every spoke will act as an individual battery. Since the strength of the magnetic field is out of the paper, it is rotating with angular velocity omega. Due to right hand palm rule, velocity will be like this, magnetic field is directed in this remaining finger's direction. Upper portion will get positive potential and lower portion will get negative potential. If you observe clearly, all these individual cells, they are in parallel combination. All these individual cells are in parallel combination. In parallel combination, effective EMF is nothing but maximum of the EMFs you connected in parallel combination. If you consider the radius of the wheel as R and the strength of EMF developed across a single spoke is given by half B omega R square. It itself will be the effective EMF for the entire combination of spokes. Since all are connected in parallel combination, effective EMF is maximum EMF of the individual spokes which were connected parallel to each other. So E is given by half b omega r square. E is given by half b omega r square. This is the question solution. The solution is very, very simple. One more problem, let us see. Two long conducting rails are placed parallel to each other. They are connected to each other at two sides by resistors R1 and R2. As shown. A conducting rod of length L is placed on rails there exists a uniform magnetic field in this region into the plane of the paper. There exists a uniform magnetic field into the paper. There exists a uniform magnetic field into the paper with the strength B. The slider AB has a resistance smaller and the resistance of rails is negligible. The slider AB has a resistance smaller and the resistance of rails is negligible. Find the force required to move the slider with a constant velocity v. As shown. So this is the question. Okay. The diagram, these are the two parallel rails kept in a region of uniform magnetic field into the paper. This is the magnetic field into the paper. This is the magnetic field B into the paper, and here is a slider. This is the slider rod named AB, moving with constant velocity V. These two are connected by two resistors. So the resistance connected at this end is R1, the resistance connected at this end is R2. And the slider AB is moving with velocity V and is having a resistance small r. Resistance of the rails is negligible. You are required to find the force required to move the slider with constant velocity V. What is the force required to move the slider with constant velocity V? So as you know that whenever a slider is moving, it develops some induced EMF or motional EMF. So the equivalent circuit can be written like this: solution. So here is resistance R1, here is resistance R2. In between there is a cell. What is the polarity of the cell? As per right hand palm rule, the upper part will have positive potential and lower part can have negative potential. So this is the thing, and it is having some internal resistance small r. Its EMF is BVL. L is the length of the rod. So this is the equivalent circuit for that. And whatever current coming here, it is divided into both. So R1 and R2 are in parallel combination to each other. So this circuit can also be drawn like this. By replacing the two resistors in parallel combination, I can draw a single resistor. The single resistance can have effective resistance R1 R2 by R1 plus R2 as they are in parallel combination. Here EMF E is there, internal resistance small r is there. This small r is in series to the effective resistance value R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. Now let me do the solution here. Let me take the strength of the current as I passing through the circuit. First let me calculate the strength of the current. Okay. Here force means this rod will experience two forces. One force due to the magnetic field as discussed in the earlier concept. One force by the external agent. One force by the external agent to keep it move with constant velocity V. Force given by the magnetic field FB is given by BIL. First let me calculate the current. Current is EMF by R effective. So EMF developed is BVL by R effective is R1 R2 by R1 plus R2 plus small r, because internal resistance is always in series to the external resistance. So this force due to the magnetic field is given by BIL. Force due to the external field must be equal to force due to the magnetic field in opposite direction. Magnitude wise, both should have same value. So the force required to move the rod is nothing but external force required, which is given by this one. If you simplify this, BVL into R1 plus R2, this LCM will go to the numerator. In the denominator, R1 R2 plus small r into R1 plus R2. Now the force required is nothing but BIL, strength of the magnetic field, into current BVL into R1 plus R2 by R1 R2 plus R into R1 plus R2 into L. So further simplification, V square VL square R1 plus R2 by R1 R2 plus small r into R1 plus R. This is the required force to keep the rod move with constant velocity. So very simple solution it is, looking complicated, but the problem is very, very simple. Now let us see Faraday disc. Faraday disc. Here is a conducting disc. Conducting means a metallic disc of radius r, like aluminum disc of radius r, rotating with angular velocity omega, as it is a disc made with conducting material. This disc is rotating itself in a magnetic field into the paper. It is rotating itself in a magnetic field into the paper. With angular velocity omega. What is the motional EMF developed between the center of the disc and the end of the disc or periphery of the disc? We need to calculate the motional EMF. This disc can be imagined as combination of number of rods, infinite number of rods you can imagine like this. So each and every rod is having radius r. Those rods are parallel to each other. Every rod is having length equal to radius of the disc. Suppose if I consider this is the center of the disc, this is a particular rod, that means particular portion of the disc. This rod is having radius r and it is rotating with angular velocity omega. The EMF developed across this rod is given by angular velocity they took like this. Magnetic field is into the paper, velocity is like this. So it will have positive potential at the top and a negative potential at the down, and the EMF developed is given by half B omega r square. And all these rod type portion of the disc are in parallel to one another. So effective EMF will be the EMF due to a single rod. So the final effective EMF is given by half B omega r square. Half B omega r square. So a conducting disc known as Faraday's disc is rotating in a uniform magnetic field into the paper as shown in figure with an angular velocity omega. Okay, the flux linked with the rod disc is always fixed. The number of lines of force are fixed. Even though the flux linked with the disc is fixed, it is generating some EMF here. The generated EMF is given by half B omega r square. Actually, the flux linked with the rod is not going to change. Even the position of the disc is also not going to change. Rod in the sense disc. Okay, the flux linked with the disc is fixed. The position of the disc is fixed. The disc is rotating around its own axis with angular velocity omega. As the number of lines of force is fixed, even though in this case you are getting some EMF between the center and edge of the disc. The EMF developed is half B omega r square, and this disc is known as, disc means this is a conducting disc. Conducting disc means like aluminum like material you are using for making of this conducting disc. Aluminum like material disk it is, whenever it is rotating, the number of lines that are passing through the surface is fixed, and the position of the disk also fixed. Due to the rotation of the disk, the EMF developed is given by half B omega R square. Thank you.